Hey guys, so I want to thank you for joining the call, Malia, and everybody else who's going to be tuning in or even watching. We just want to extend our thank you. I have a very important guest. He's with a title attorney company here in the area, in the Dallas area. These guys do do a ton of business. Hunter Nix, sales director over at Fair Texas Title in Frisco.
Yep.
He has some exciting news. So, Hunter, just tell people a little bit about you, a little bit about Fair Texas Title. What do you guys do?
Okay. So first, I'm the sales guy at Fair Texas Title. Fair Texas Title in Frisco. So I'm the rep over here. My job is to go capture business out in the market and basically make your job, realtors like you, your job a little bit easier by giving you resources, whether that be marketing, helping with strategy to market an area, market yourself, or just be, hey, a shoulder to lean on in this crazy market. But as far as Fair Texas goes, we are a local DFW based title company. And so what that means is our whole goal at Fair Texas is to provide the best experience we can as a local title company, whether that be service, whether that be on the communication front. Basically, we're here to make people like Spencer look good to their clients. And so that's our whole goal. We are a service-based industry. We provide a service that, frankly, every other title company does the same thing we do on the back end. So really where we can stand out is on the service portion of it, and the marketing portion, really getting our name out there, getting your name out there, and providing some different alternatives for resources, things like that. So that is Fair Texas Title kind of in a nutshell. And I'm, of course, the sales guy there. So I do a lot of that.
I know you do. I know you do a lot of activities here in the local market. You work really, really hard. I think I met you maybe sometime in 2020.
Yeah, it was 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when it was actually, you were one of my first meetings around that first month when I got here, and you had just moved in from Louisiana.
Yeah, absolutely. So you did share a little bit of good news with me. Are you going to share it with the people, or are you guys going to keep that kind of a secret?
Oh, yes. One big thing.
In the call. One second.
Perfect.
Okay, we just admitted them. So I'm going to be admitting people as we go along.
Cool.
And just, I do want to say my apologies, guys. Somehow my Zoom links got crossed. So everybody who's joining the call now, we're going to be accepting people as we go. So just forewarning.
All good. So one big thing that's happening at Fair Texas Frisco, we're going to be moving to the Star. We're in Frisco, where the Cowboys practice. We're opening our new offices there probably in the next month. So we're going to be right there in the middle of the action. Frisco is a booming area right now, and we are going to be right in the middle of it at the coolest spot, right there at the Star.
Let me ask you this: what inspired that move?
Honestly, it's for experience, not only for you, but for your clients. You get to walk into a multi-billion-dollar building. I mean, like literally, you get to walk into the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. I saw Jerry Jones Jr. walking by the other day. Wow. You look to the right, there's the press conference room. You look to the left, there's where you kind of go towards the office buildings. And so that experience is going to be second to none. You can't get much better than the Cowboys, right? They're top notch always. Jerry's going to spend his money and make it nice. So it's going to be a very nice office. It's going to allow us to do a lot more educational events, happy hours, things like that. We're going to be able to host agents in our office and really help them with whatever, just give them a more open space to come in. Hey, come see me. If you need help with something, marketing, whatever it is, that's somewhere that you'll be able to come in. We've got room for you, and we can help you out.
I'm definitely going to come see you because I know that atmosphere is going to be amazing.
It will.
You guys are right across the street from a couple great restaurants too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You've got I think Mi Cocina over there. You've got whatever the pizza place is. You've got all types of bars, restaurants right there. It's kind of the spot to be in DFW. So I'm very excited.
It's going to be quite fun. So, Hunter, I just want to dive in, man. One of the questions I get from a lot of people is, what is a title?
Okay, right? So I will be completely honest with you, Spencer. Before I joined this industry, I had the exact same question. I had bought a home before. I knew that was where I went and signed for my home. But outside of that, I knew nothing. And so I'll kind of just speak on this like a fifth grade level, because if you don't know, if you're not in this space or you don't know, this is going to be great information for you. And if I go too much deeper, it's going to go right over your head. So I'll kind of just keep it base level, but give some really good information here. So this is not homeowners insurance. That is a different thing. A lot of people don't realize that. Title insurance. This protects your right to the ownership of property. So you pay this one time when you close, and that is basically to protect you from losses that you weren't aware of. So if someone comes and claims the property, an unknown heir or an ex-spouse, and they're like, I own that property. Well, if it has gone through title insurance and made it through and you've closed, those claims have been deemed invalid. And so you know that you personally own the home.
So I've actually had a couple scenarios where we go under contract and then the title searching begins, and then we find out there's a relative in Chicago, right?
Yep.
So
yes,
that's why that's so important, is to make sure that it's free and clear, right?
Yes, exactly. We're eliminating the risk for you, because we're basically taking on that risk, saying, hey, we are issuing this title policy saying that you do own this land, and that there is no risk for you to actually get that land taken away from you, that property, because you are the rightful owner to it. And if you are not, you wouldn't be getting the title insurance. And they would have to figure that out during the whole title process. And then that's kind of what kills the deal or something like that. That's, where we see that happen.
Without title insurance, could that get costly to clear up?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you would, if you don't have title insurance. And now I'll say this, most title companies like ourselves, we're eliminating risk for you, but also for ourselves. Because if we were to pass title and you were to have a claim that was right, or someone was to have a claim that was right, now that's why it's called title insurance. It's not you who's on the hook, it's us. So we're going to make sure if we push that deal through, there is no liens, nothing on that can derail this for you.
You're insuring your work, basically.
What, sir?
You're insuring your work.
Exactly. We're insuring our work so that you guys don't have a problem in the future. And it's a one-time ownership, one-time policy. And there's a few different types of policies that most people don't realize as well. So you technically do not have to have a title policy in Texas. You don't. Now, if you are using a loan, they are going to make you do a title policy, and that's a loan policy. That's because they want the insurance on the money that they've given you to buy this house. Exactly. So that is one type of policy. And so if you have a title policy, and most people do, very rarely do we see deals go through without them, unless someone goes, I got all this cash, give me the house, don't tell me anything. And hey, you could do that if you want. But you're really setting yourself up for liability on the backside there to not get those checks in, right? To not have that extra added layer of security, to know that someone's not going to come and claim this land later for you. So again, these are two different types of policies, though. You're going to have both of them in most cases. So if you have a mortgage, you're going to have a loan policy. That loan policy is discounted if you have a normal title policy. Okay. So if you have a title policy, that loan policy is going to cost $100. If you don't, they're going to charge you the title policy. So yeah, so it's a little bit different, in every state. So you might have a few different rules in Louisiana, Spence, but for the most part, we are here to eliminate risk. And then at the end of the day, we're preparing docs and hosting the closing so that you can have your home. Nice. And so, yeah, that's about as basic as I can get with title insurance. Do you have any other questions about it?
Actually, I do. So here's a debate that I often hear in our industry about, quote unquote, the title policy. If it's a new construction property, would you still encourage the homeowner to get title policy, being that it may only have one ownership, which is like the developer or contractor, one or two, exchanges in title? Would you encourage the title policy in that scenario?
Still encourage title policy, because again, whether it be that entity who comes back and says something was wrong, or there's a fence on the wrong part, something of that nature, then you're still basically, you're just adding that insurance so that that no one can come back later and tell you differently. It's I think you need it in every deal, obviously, because it's basically just a backline of support. because if someone were to come and claim now with a new home, that may be different, but if someone from years back had said, well, we have claim on that land and there had been no title policy to find that out, you personally would be on the hook for that. Yeah. And, when you're buying a home, that's the biggest purchase of your life. Well, think if you had to buy a home and then pay for it again, or give that to someone else, right? So it's one of those things. It's a very small cost for the sense of, just that sense of in the back of your mind, like that piece that that we're covered here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hunter, just a little bit on encroachments and easements, because while we're talking about title policy, right?
Okay.
Insure. So if there's an encroachment, you said, a fence line may be on the property. Oh, Lord. Had a call. Sorry about that.
So encroachments, easements, stuff like that. That's where we go to Schedule C in the title commitments, right? So that is where we, as the title company, and you as the realtor, the people who own the property will say, well, we need to fix this, and this to allow this property to get through, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is part of our process. That's what we're looking for. That's where the title policy really pays for itself. Right. That's what we're doing. We are looking for those easements. We are looking for those things that you're not going to know, that no one's going to know. It takes a professional person who knows where to look, and that's really where the escrow process is. And I can say, luckily, that I work for a company that has 40 years of experience out of our 2 escrow officers. And so they've seen a little bit of everything, and they honestly make it pretty easy on me, because if it gets through, I know it's a good deal. These ladies, if they can't make it go, it's not going to. Right. So, and that's why it's always very, it's very good to team up with people that are going to take care of you, be professionals in the industry, because at the end of the day, our job is to make it easier on realtors like you. We want your clients to feel this is the easiest, best experience. And if we don't do a good job of that on our end, then it reflects poorly on you. So that's really what we're here for: service and just getting the work done.
Right. I love that process, that you guys are thorough. Y'all ensure the work that you do. Just like you said, it adds that extra layer of peace of mind. Yep. And along with that, a part of understanding the close is closing costs. A lot of times, people ask, hey, what is closing costs? What comes with closing costs? And we know that that's a lot of, it's a variety of breakdown when you're talking about closing costs. Typically, you guys are going to have like a disclosure that kind of has the closing costs, the lender fees, everything before you close on the transaction. So could you touch on that end of it?
Yeah, I can. So I will say most of the closing costs, those are actually going to be those are mandated by the state based on the property of the house. So most of that is stuff that we don't actually touch. Like, we don't make the price on it. We don't set that. That is set at the state level by Texas for realtors. So it's not based on, hey, we like this guy or we like this. No, it is based on the price of the home. Yeah. So basically, those rates, we don't make them, we just abide by them. We are the gatekeepers of this. We're told, hey, this is what you do by the government. We are just carrying that out for you guys. And so a lot of the closing costs, of course, there will be things like maybe a mobile notary if you've got someone who does, who doesn't want to close in office, or you've got a survey. Well, that's what that title policy is paying for. All of those searches to clear the liens or clear the discrepancies on the title. So basically, it's decided that based on this level of property, you need this much money to go through all of your searches, and that's how the title policy is kind of formulated on a basic level. Yeah.
Okay. And then you said lien, which is an interesting word, because I know that that's a part of your closing process.
This is popular, ladies.
Hey,
ladies and gentlemen.
And I turned my, let me do this. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, not a problem.
Let me go airplane mode. I know I got people trying to get on the Zoom call. And they're not able to access it, which is fine. We'll be able to post it.
Yeah, we'll post this for sure.
Airplane mode because my phone is blowing up right now. So I apologize.
So a lien is just a claim against the property for money. So if someone were to owe back taxes or whatever else that is, and they tried to sell you the home, that's part of why we do title insurance, so that you are not stuck with those taxes when you gain ownership of the home. So things like that it's invaluable to have title insurance. While it may be something that most people don't understand about, know that our job is just to make this as easy of a process on the realtors and then buyers and sellers, as little friction as we can have between them and they're also who's getting the home, and then try to basically sort out, like, this is what we say. All right, hey, these are what need to happen. Like, say there's a fence line, over the property line, right? We say, hey, we need that fence to be moved or this deal can't be done because you have property on your neighbor's property, and we legally can't give that type of that property to you because technically you don't own what you're on right now.
Right.
And so it's things like that we're supposed to find, so that it doesn't come back 10 years later and someone goes, you're on my property, I want a new fence, I want all this, you're gonna tear all this down, it's mine. So yeah, that's
how do you guys identify if somebody's fence line is 4 inches over on the neighbor's property? How is that identified? Is that survey or
surveys? Yes. So a lot of times now, most people do want new surveys at this point. And I think that's a smart thing as well, because it's just another added layer that we have gotten a recent survey and we can show that the property you were on is actually yours. So that's not anything that an actual that like the clients will have to ask for, but that's something that most times we're going to push for anyways, because we want there to be a good survey on hand so that we can give the best information to the state that you own this home.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. Do you guys offer a service that allows a seller to sign at closing, let's say a mail out? Let's say they may have purchased a home, move, and then they put their home on the market. At that point, do you guys offer a service where you mail it out, let them sign and close with a notary or something and mail it back?
Yeah, so we don't do a sign and mail back, but we do mobile notaries actually at no cost to realtors, because kind of during COVID, we just saw that some people don't want to come into the office, some people don't, and then we realized, like, all right, it's not just COVID. Some people are busy, although this may be the biggest time in their lives, they may not want to take off a full day of work to go sign for a house and stuff. So in that case, we would send out our mobile notaries who we have vetted. We've got a group in the area, and then outside of Texas, we've got a couple different companies that we use on a regular basis to sign the deals and get them back to us so that we can, kind of sign anywhere.
Get it done efficiently. Get
it done as anywhere we want. It's all about making the clients happy, right?
Love that. Yes, sir. And we often in the closing process, after somebody closed, they take ownership. We have the 3-letter word that is rattling homeowners right now, and it's called tax.
Yes.
And we're not referring to taxes that you pay on the job. We're, of course, referring to property tax.
Yes.
And so from my understanding, what's been going on in the market is, people paying so much money for houses that, if I've been in my house 15 years and I paid $220 for my home, but now it's worth $450, I'm getting an excess value based on today's current prices. So homestead exemption, how does that apply to a homeowner with property tax?
Homestead exemption. So that is going to make it so that your property taxes on the home. So homestead, let's kind of just explain that first. Homestead. So you buy a home. It is the first home you've ever bought. It is your homestead, is the one current residence that you live at. So before this year, you had to wait until the following January to sign a homestead exemption. And so basically that meant that they could cap your taxes, like how much they can move up in a given year,
right? Starting
the next year that after your first year, after January 1st, you can go on. So like I bought my house in July of 2020, January 1st, 2021, I could apply for homestead.
Gotcha.
that capped my taxes for that next year so that I could not be, my house has gone up quite a bit in this market because I bought at a good time. So my equity's gone through the roof, but so have my taxes.
Yeah.
Which, good problem to have, I guess. But at the same time, like, I want to pay lower taxes. So homestead exemption, you can basically, and Spence, I'll give you a handout for this that you can give out to anyone here that has not done this homestead exemption.
Okay.
All you have to do is fill out a piece of paper, send it into the county, and it is going to cap your taxes so they can't move them up to you can only move up 10% a year. So rather than, where you were maybe going to move up $3,000 or $4,000 in a year, you will only move up $400 or $500, which still a lot of money, but it's a lot less money than you would be. You're basically just making this your primary residence. It's the place that you live. And in that way you can basically cap your taxes.
Yeah, man, I love that. In terms of the closing process, do you have any crazy stories that you witness in the market right now?
I mean, I don't know that there's anything I mean, there's a lot of craziness in the market now. What we're really seeing is the craziest things we're seeing is like in the buildup to the closing process, right? So, but right before you guys send a executed contract to us, we are seeing astronomical prices in the DFW. On an average of, I would say, $50,000 to $75,000 above asking price on most deals. And in Frisco, probably closer to 100. I mean, it's really insane. You've got people coming in with an influx of money from out of town. And so those people have cash, they need somewhere to live, and they're willing to pay because whatever they had from, Seattle, California, their dollar doesn't go as far there. So they get down here and they're like, $800,000, I can buy a 5-bedroom house. I can, 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bath, whatever it is. Yeah. You can get a lot more house for a lot less money. So that's what we're really seeing. And so it's been a little bit different year as far as the market. So we are seeing the lowest inventory. And so for those of you that don't know, that means the number of houses that are coming up sold in a given month, coming up for sale in a given month. It's the lowest inventory that has ever been on record so basically since they have started tracking that stat. Right now is the lowest inventory.
About 2.5-3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even making it a full month right now. We don't have a month's worth of inventory for homes. Usually that's up close to 6 or 7 in a good market. Well, right now it is an extreme seller's market. So what we're seeing is a lot less deals, but much higher value for those deals. So really the market's a little skewed at the moment because if you look at actual volume, like how much money volume has been going on, we haven't gone down since last year, but there's so many fewer houses that you have to realize that the prices have moved astronomically up. Yeah. I think in the 75034 area code, which is Frisco, I think they had 21% growth last year, appreciation on homes. Wow. So really the whole DFW right now is just kind of popping. Everyone's coming in from everywhere, and we've seen massive appreciation across the DFW.
And Hunter, you know why that number is important is because in a regular real estate market, you're looking at 3 to 6% appreciation over a 12-month period.
Yes.
I mean, 21% and more, like Collin County, man, it's remarkable the numbers that county has experienced.
It really is. I mean, a lot of people say that there's a recession coming, this and that. In Texas, yeah, that may be the case in some other places, but that is not the case here. We're seeing massive inflation. We're seeing a lot of different factors that could push towards that. But the housing market is as strong as it has been as far as buying power. It's a seller's market, but there are more buyers than ever. And so, kind of supply and demand, it's not going to stop because there's people willing to pay.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because I have a question. Obviously you guys have to have a refined process to be able to manage the volume of transactions coming across your desk, right?
Yep.
Kind of walk us through how you guys are able to process and manage all of these transactions.
Well, so the people you see are not the people doing all the work. We've got a great team here, really. So you've got to say it starts right at the front desk at reception. So we've got a great receptionist. She is the one who she delivers, I mean, basically takes in earnest money, takes in, option money, and she starts out the process. She's our director of first impressions. And so that's who starts it off. She sends out welcome emails to all the new clients. Hey, this is your team that's going to be working with you. This is your options for option money and, option fee and the other one. Yeah, I just went blank for a second. Option and earnest money. And then, so that's where it starts right there. When you put in the contract, you're going to get back something that day saying, hey, we got your contract. Here's what the next steps are for you. And then during that next 3 to 4 week process, because right now everything's closing in a month, there's no days on market. It's very quick. Yeah. So basically in that time, that's when we start the searches. We've got a great team of about five assistants right now who they are looking up HOA, they're getting surveys, they are, combating liens. Basically, they are going up and figuring out what's going on with this property and clearing everything for you. And then, at that point, we're talking to you guys, we're talking to the buyer and the seller agents, and we're saying, hey guys, so we're looking good with this now. If we need some more information, well, we've already been in contact with all of our clients. And at that point, we're also working with the mortgage lender to make sure that the money's coming through so that we can all meet on the date of the close and actually close on the home.
And how long is that process in terms of checking the title and kind of, I know we have a 30-day window, but from the time you started to when you finish up, what will be that time frame?
It really depends. It's kind of based on the different contracts. So you have some contracts that are very easy. They are free and clear title. You got no problems. And those you can be done in maybe as little as 7 days. Now, wow. That's not, unless there's a reason for you to need to close that fast, which there rarely is. That's kind of a special circumstance. But if someone does need to close that fast, we'll try to do it. We've had it out in 7 days before. But right now, what we're seeing a lot of as well is it's a lot harder to get surveys out and appraisers, everything else. Okay. So that's exactly, they're all booked. They're doing as much work as everyone right now. So those people that's what's maybe slowing things down more than anything, is the other vendors that we all have to kind of work in concession with, because they're so booked as well that, we all kind of have to match up in time wise. So we could be done a weekend, but we still have all these other things that we need information back from people. So it's kind of I don't like to give an actual time frame, like what the average is, but we can do it as fast as 7 in some circumstances. And then, 30 days is the longest it's going to take for most things. And if it can't be done in that, it's not going to be.
Now, in cash, when somebody's paying cash, is that
cash is much faster?
Or a 2-week time frame?
Oh, cash much faster. We're looking at 2 weeks at that point. Yeah, cash, we can get that done much faster because we don't have to go through all the mortgage lending stuff. We're not having to work with those other outside vendors as much because you've got the cash. You don't need them.
Right. You don't have to go through the financing,
exactly,
underwriting and all that stuff.
Yep. You don't have to, that just takes out hours of work for someone to do and then give to us. We don't have to wait on them anymore. You've got the cash.
So I read a stat somewhere that said that right now in the DFW, we're experiencing about a 40% fallout rate, meaning that actually this was last year. People were throwing contracts on houses, option money, 500, 750, and agents were like, hey, you need to put some real skin in the game. Yep. And that option money went up to about $1,000 because we had a high fallout rate of about 40%. So have you guys seen where you're actually having to turn over that option money to the seller versus giving it back to the buyer?
It's definitely happened before. What we've definitely seen a lot of is agents putting in 2 contracts. They're going, well, if this one falls through, we've got a backup already, because they're going through we're hearing 50 to 70 offers on most homes right now. At least, not most, but on a good majority of them. There are 50 to 70 offers. So usually from that pack, you're going to be able to find 2 that can get you there, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what they want. They want to sell this home. They don't really, the option money is great. Like if you get all right, $1,000 and I can resell it, that's awesome. But most people are not going to do that if they if they get a house, they're so happy to be able to get into a house right now because the bidding is so competitive
Right.
that, you know, they're not backing out. If anyone is, it's going to be the other side because they decide they don't want to sell for whatever reason, or they think they can get a better deal somewhere else, which I'm not advocating for, but it has definitely happened. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more of just people putting in like double offers. So or sending to pre-title 2 offers, and they'll be like, well, we're going to send you both, and you're kind of going to start pre-title on those. And then once we figure it out, we'll let you know.
I'll let you know which one sticks.
Yep, exactly.
Now, briefly, with title policy, is there
Okay.
a formula to calculate the estimated cost for a title policy?
Yes, there is. And I've got that
Before you go
written
into that,
down.
I'm going to say that buyers are absorbing those costs in this market. So guys,
Yes.
take your notes, take your pen and pad out. Please take notes.
Yes. So there is a way to calculate it. Now it has a few different variables in it. Spence, I will also give you this sheet too, so that we can give to everyone out for this. I'll send you an email with it. But let's just say for this hypothetical, we're doing a house that is between 100,000 and $1 million. We'll just say it's there. So to do that, you start off with one thing. You put the actual dollar amount of the home. That's the policy. That's how much the policy is going to be for. We'll just say 500,000 for easy numbers sake. So 500,000, that's step 1. Step 2, subtract 100,000 from whatever that number is. So anything between 100,000 and 1 million, subtract 5,000 or 100,000. So now we're at 400,000. You multiply 400,000 by 0.00527. That is the multiplier. And then step 4, add $832. That's the rest of the fees. The $832 is just the fees. That's what is governed basically. Yeah, that is what it costs, what the state mandates for that title cost.
Okay.
Yep.
And that gives them the estimated cost for the
and
title.
that will give them the estimated cost of title. And then, you know, I will share this all with you. It's a little nice sheet here that has every different price of a home and how much the title costs next to it. So you're not completely blindsided whenever you get to that closing table.
And guys, I just want to say, this is why it's important to lean into your vendors, your realtors, your title company, your lenders, because there's information, there's a wealth of information that we have access to really help you manage your transaction and understand every step of the way. That's so important. Now, what about filing? Once a contract closes,
okay,
it has to be filed with the county.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us a little bit of information about that briefly?
I mean, I'll be very brief with you because really there's not much that goes into it. After we get that documentation, so we have all the documents from both sides saying that we've sold it, we have bought it, it is their home, you know, the new buyer's home. Once we've done that, we get those documents and that is something that's part of being a title company. We take those documents, we hold the money, we disperse money to everyone, and then we send those documents to the county so that they can be filed, and then we'll go in and and then you'll also get those docs as well. We send those out too, yes, so that you have your title policy, because we always want you to have it. One thing I didn't mention earlier on the title policy and title insurance, we did talk about those 2 different kinds, and 2 of those last differently as well. So like if you just have a loan policy, that only is while the loan is still valid. Like until the loan's paid off, then you're paid. It protects you. Once it's paid off, that loan policy is done because they don't care. Their money's out of it. Now, the owner's policy, that is good for life as long as you have the property. If you or your heirs own the property, you can transfer that title fee to them, whatever it is. But as long as you own the property, or someone who, you know, you've given the property to, you are under those rights, you are protected by title.
Does it basically transfers with the property?
No, it doesn't transfer with the property. So that is part of the new insurance plan every time. So like Spence, if I were to live in my home forever and then I give it to my children, yes, that would stay with them because it's it's staying in my family or whatever else. There's no change of ownership on a legal basis, right? As far as like selling it. Now, on the other side of that, it would be, and geez, I just went totally blank. But yeah, so if you were to sell it, that is where someone needs that new title policy that clears the other person from the old thing. So if I had given my property to my kids or changed it to their name, and then I sell it,
Mhm.
that would protect my kids first off from me trying to sell it because they own the title. Also, the next buyer, because they would know pretty quickly that we weren't the full owner of the property.
Yeah. And real quick, just want to switch gears real quick. Earlier, you mentioned HOA certificate. That's a
Okay.
part of the transaction. Can you touch on that briefly on, how that process works?
Yeah, I can talk about it very briefly. This is one that I don't get into very much. That's more of a back end deal for us. But I do know there are some different ways that the HOA can be configured at the end of this. This is also part of the title insurance. So one of the ways that we figure out who owes what, right? And so if there's like an outstanding HOA payment, we will, put in there, say, well, the old buyer or the seller of this home, they have HOA dues or whatever. So that would be something that you put into the title commitment and say, well, this needs to be taken care of before, or the new buyer can only be charged $100 out of that based on whatever of what is owed from the previous seller. So really it's just another way that we can basically be that back line of support to know that you're not being charged for something that someone else did.
Well, Hunter, I have to say, man, you were very thorough. You know this business. Love talking to you about this process, man, because I'm even picking up some gems that I can further educate my clients with. I do want to ask, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you would feel, is relevant to our conversation today?
So I do think one thing that I've always thought, and I think you'll agree. So title company as well, like anyone who is buying a home can pick their own title company if they want to, right? So if they're using you as a realtor, they say, Spence, we don't want to use Fair Texas Title. We want to use so-and-so title name. That's not a horrible thing. But at the same time, I'm here to advocate for guys like Spencer because so here in that scenario, I'm saying, why would you want to change who your professional works with on a day-to-day basis whenever he knows the processes that go on? Spence knows me. He knows people on our team. So he's much more comfortable working with us than some person that he's never worked with before. Now, not saying that's going to, hey, no, exactly. Well, and you got to think, we work with, I consider you to be part of your team. You're part of mine. We're a team here. So I want to work with the best people. So, and you do as well. And so I think a lot of times people are like, it doesn't matter where you do your title policy because it all costs the same, this and that. It's all, well, it all costs the same. There's a reason that there are title companies that do better than others. It's called service. It's called service, the way you treat your people, communication. And so that's something that I've always said, like when people are like, well, they should do it at my friend's place because he's there. Hey, not saying that's against the thing, but just know that whenever you're working with people who work with us a lot, or you're familiar working with, that process is just going to be so much smoother because the lines of communication are there and that what to expect from us. We know the same from you. So that was basically the last thing I had to say. If you're a new home buyer, use Spence. He's great. That's what I'm here for. Use this guy.
Thank you, Hunter. And at the same time, if you are, we're going to send you over to this guy, okay? If possible. Now, I know in Texas, the seller, chooses title company in this market.
In this market right now, a lot of sellers are going, hey, you want this house, you're going to pay title, and also I'm going to pick it. And that's just how it goes sometimes.
That's just a reflection of who that current seller did business with for that particular transaction, right? It's not necessarily the seller saying, hey, I want to use this particular company. I closed my house with this company.
That's going to be usually the it's really usually going to be the realtor, honestly. The realtor in that situation will say, hey, we've got 10 great deals. All 10 of you are going to be paying title. But if you really want this deal, title's coming my way. And while that may be something that isn't maybe above board all the time, real estate's a dirty place at times. And so we've definitely seen it happen. You know, we definitely have seen that happen. But that's kind of just the nature of the seller's market. We are seeing, you know, more houses come on the market than have been. So that's encouraging. We hope to see more and more. Inflation has kind of pushed, you know, our mortgage rates have gone up a little bit. So maybe this will bring a little less competition to some of those houses, which would be good for the market.
Yeah.
You know, right now it is such a vicious seller's market. They can do whatever they want. And it's coming from someone who's been dealing with buyers. How has that been for you, Spence? You tired?
Challenges, man. You know, one of the things that the hurdle I always cross is the repair, the option period. You know, can we get repairs? I'm like, hey, listen, this is really not the market to push the seller.
Exactly.
Right? But overall, I'm one of those agents that I work tirelessly to find my client's home.
For sure.
I check the MLS 3-4 times a day just to make sure I'm staying on top of the inventory, right? And so when we do write an offer, I'm following up with the agent. I'm making sure that before we even get in the field, you have to sit down and do a Zoom consultation with me. That's so important because we need to be educated on the expectation level of what it takes to win in this market.
Absolutely.
You can't just put a buy favorite contract on a home and expect to win. You have to go in at minimum 1% on the earnings, have a strong option, you know, focus on the terms as well as the sales price. And another thing I like to do is check the comps. So if I make an offer, I need to know, is this neighborhood selling at list price or is it selling $30,000 to $100,000 more? That's
exactly.
So you know how to structure your offer. So I think that the buyers who work with me are very happy. I'm very thorough, you know, and they keep me busy, man.
I'm sure you're busy, but you know, this market, you're working hard. We'll get out of it.
Absolutely. Hey, love what you guys do, Hunter. I want to say thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to add to the pot before we end the call?
I don't think I have anything. Thank you very much for having me. And
got it. Contact.
Oh, yes. Contact information. Yes. Okay. Hunter Nix at Fair Texas Title. My email is hunter@Fair Texas Title. We're a small company, so it's easy. Hunter@Fair Texas Title. My phone number is 903-821-9897. If you guys have any questions, need anything, feel free to reach out to me, to Spence, and he can lead you to me. And I think this is awesome, man.
How can we find you on social media?
Social media, I am at Hunter Nix on everything.
That's it. Yeah, but I appreciate your time. I'm wishing you nothing but a prosperous day and week. And we will be talking very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Spence.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Yep. Same to you.
All right. Bye-bye.